to open the book. Now, we talk about the characteristics of a lion. What are they? They're powerful. They have strength. They command respect. They're confident. There's no fear in them whatsoever. The other night, my wife and I were watching a story of a man that he had freed some lions from some captivity, and he had taken them out to a reserve, and he would get out and he would walk right out in the middle of nowhere and begin to whistle and speak, and these lions would come out of nowhere. And I don't know about you, but I'd be looking for the nearest tree, whatever I could find to get to scaling up real quick, because I just know that lion's looking at me and saying, supper time is here. There's a little bit of meat on that guy's bones. Supper's going to be good tonight. But this fellow would walk out, and these lions would just walk up, and they would begin to just absolutely lap all over him. They'd jump up and put their paws around him, and they would lick on him, and they would wrestle, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness. This guy, these things are sedated, and this guy's a certified nut. He's out there with some flesh-eating, man-eating tigers, lions, just massive, 500 pounds, paws that big around and teeth that big. But they absolutely loved him. Now that was the characteristics of a lion. Powerful. Got strength. And I begin to think about the Lion of Judah. He's powerful. He's got strength. He commands respect. He's confident. And then he began to speak here just a little bit about the lamb, the characteristics of a lamb that we see. A lamb is not particularly powerful. In fact, they're mild, maybe not respected, not very confident, not known to be cunning. They fear many other animals. I always like going in the fall of the year, me and my wife, we'll go to the TVA&I fair in Knoxville. When I was a kid, my mommy would take me over there every year, look forward to going to the fair in Knoxville. And my mother, May, and Irene would take me and my brother, my cousins, and we'd all load up and go to the fair. That was, we wasn't rich folks, but we could save up a little bit. We'd get some free tickets or something to get in the gate. Yeah, got in free. And we'd get to go watch, a little bit of the fair, ride the Ferris wheel. And anybody ever done that? Admit to it? I'll tell you a little quick story. I like funny things. It was funny now, it wasn't funny then. My Aunt Irene was a very strong lady, and like a second mommy to me when I was growing up, when I was a kid. Took me a lot of places, did a lot of things with me, and I love her to death today. But we got my Aunt Irene on the Ferris wheel at the fair, and she got sicker than a mule on the Ferris wheel. Now, I could see that on the scrambler, whatever, but the Ferris wheel, real slow like that. Never forget, we got her off. She was begging, please get them to stop and get me off, get me off, get me off. We got her off, we laid her in the grass. I mean, one of the laying in the grass, people come by and say, is she okay? What's wrong? She had a heart attack. No, she just got sick on the Ferris wheel. There I was, nothing more disappointing to a 7, 8, 9-year-old kid. You're wanting to ride everything, and your aunt's laying in the grass sicker than the dog, and she stopped everything. But we would go to the fair, and I always liked, even to this day, me and my wife go in the fall of the year. I like to go see the animals up at the livestock, and I always like to see the goats and the sheep. To me, they're just the humblest, meekest things, and they're just precious. And those of you that's ever had goats, you say, oh, if you're around one, you would think it's precious. That's who gives. She was in the goat business one time. Didn't last long. You loved her. She's the, two greatest days that she was a goat farmer was the first day that she bought them and the day that she took them to the stockyard and sold all of them off. But I begin to think about these sheep, and I love them, and I just love to see them, and they're just so meek, and they're just so precious. And I think about the humbleness and the meekness of a sheep, of a lamb. And Jesus had those characteristics of that lamb. The power of the Lion of Judah, and the love and the respect and the meekness and humbleness of a lamb. What does that lion represent? A king. The passage says this lion is from the tribe of Judah. Over in Genesis, the tribe of Judah is where Israelite kings would come from. He's an eternal king, the almighty king, the most powerful king, the ruler over all. None like him in heaven, on earth, anywhere could be found to come and loose the seal. But he also represented the lamb, which represented a sacrifice. A perfect sacrifice. Old Testament sacrifices done by the high priest, offered himself a sacrifice for all mankind. He's our high priest, our intercessor, the only way. John the Baptist spoke about it when he said, "Look, the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world." Amen. The Lamb of God, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the power. I began to look upon that lion the other night, and I began to just visualize myself the power and the authority of Almighty Jesus. I began to think about the power that He's got in His voice, in His Word, when He speaks to the seas, "Be calm." When He spoke after Peter, He said, "Come to me." Peter stepped out on that water and began to walk. And as long as he kept his eyes on the Lion of Judah, as long as he kept his eyes upon Jesus, he walked on. He walked on, but when he took his eyes off of Him, he began to see the power that comes in the Lion of Judah. I shared with you a few times. I'll share this again. Some of you have not heard this. But I had a dream one time. And those of you that know me know that I'm terrified of a snake. Those of you that worry that one of these days I'll be a snake handling preacher, let me relieve you of all those fears. That will never happen. Roy Brooks came in about 2 weeks ago and said, "I told Brenda we're going to lose our preacher." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, there was a snake handling preacher up there in Harlan County died. I figured you'd go up there and take his place." I said, "No, sir. I'll handle my serpents on the end of the hoe. Amen. On the end of the shotgun barrel." That's how we handle our serpents on Paint Creek. My daddy taught me well. You know, snake, get the gun. I don't care what color. You know, I'm kind of like the mercenaries. Kill them all, let God sort them out. Okay? That's kind of the way I feel about snakes. Okay? I'm fearful of them. Rubber snake. Out at school there where I teach in the science lab, they got 2 snakes. Okay, they got a couple of them ball pythons. And my principal knows that I'm fearful of a snake, and he'll come in occasionally just to get my blood pressure up and have his hand. He said, "Hey, come over here, I'll show you something." And I'll fall for it, and I'll get about 2 feet from him, and he'll pull around, and that snake will be balled up on his hand, and I will jump and scream and holler and threaten him. I said, "Listen, I'm about to be insubordinate big time, buddy. Get that snake away from me." I'm just deathly fearful of it, you know. Well, I had a dream one night that a large rattlesnake, you know, some of them rascals can get about that big around and about yay long, okay? Big old fat green and black, you know. Some of you seen them. Ain't you probably seen a few on strip jobs. I've seen a few run out the mountain there. You know, we killed our share of them. But this big rattlesnake had me absolutely cornered, backed up. I couldn't go any farther. There was a wall here, and I was in the corner. And every move that I made, this big snake made a move. And I was hemmed up. I couldn't move. And I began to pray. I didn't know what to do, because I'm terrified of the snake. And the snake is trying its best to bite me. And out of nowhere, a big lion walks up.